Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the weekend update. I'm happy to see you all here and that you were able to survive the great one-day crash that we had last Monday. One day, that was it. Evergrande came and went, supposedly, per the business media. But being high cash, not a bad thing to see. Wasn't a whole lot of action, really, because there was no panic. And I know the market was down 1,000 points, but still, there was no real panic. And we came all the way back up plus some as the week went on. Now you'll see here on the Dow daily chart, massive sell volume, buy volume less. Never something you want to see. And the action's still out there over the last couple of days. As I've been saying, something is just not right underneath the surface. Things are not trading correctly. It is also that time of the year for tax loss selling. Tax loss selling does not only happen in December. A lot of mutual funds and hedge funds, their year end is this week or the end of October. So you can continue to see tax selling really over the next couple of months. Most of it usually gets done during this period of the year. Let's take a quick look at the VIX, which had that quick spike this week. This is the weekly chart, and then right back down like nothing matters. But if you're looking out, like I am, to what potentially could be coming because everything has been swept under the rug, we're going to take a look at the 10-year Treasury yield, and that has gone on a big spike over the last few days. The reason I bring this up is you recall when everything really imploded and started trading crappy this year, where everything started trading lockstep. That happened when we had Treasury yields explode in February, and then in March, the crap hit the fan. The speculative money went to the sidelines, and everything really went to sleep. This is starting to happen again. This is potentially, other than the Evergrande nonsense, which is far from being over, this is the other excuse. Aside from the debt ceiling, there's always something out there for them to knock the market back down out of the blue. Periods like this, I love being high cash. High cash. 90% plus. Doesn't mean I'm not doing anything. I just have a day trade focus, and I own swings that I'm okay seeing lower, and they're swings that if they went when I wasn't in, I'd be extremely mad. Those are the kinds of swings I sit on when I'm high cash in a tape like this. Looking at the Qs, you can see here on the Qs, we had a sell-off and a bounce back. Really no real direction there. Using my barometer for the market, though, AI could break out, could be in a holding pattern, which is essentially what we've seen and the kind of action we've seen recently. You recall me talking on Friday. I wouldn't call it a rant, but a long extended post on just how abnormal the action has been in this market. We are in a market, to give you some perspective, I've been trading for 20 plus years, and the action that we saw in this last week, and really the last couple of months, when you see that kind of action in the large caps, the rest of the market, the micro caps, the small caps, would trade absolutely independent of that. What we are seeing in this market, and it keeps getting worse and worse, and by that I mean tied more and more. If we see the large caps go on a big rally, everything kind of stands still or slightly moves up, except for the whatever stock the algos blessed in small cap land. We have a little blip to the downside, and we see Armageddon out there in small cap land. We see stocks down 5, 10, 15%. Many times it's in pre-market. Many times it's on very, very low volume. Just not a healthy thing under the surface. And that is what keeps me right now high cash in this market. Quick mention on the other QQQ leader, a Tesla breaking out. This is the weekly chart. Here's the daily chart. And you can see here we broke out of that level. Tesla launched the ability to ask for full self-driving this weekend. So be prepared for an avalanche of negative articles on Tesla from the shorts. Two reasons. This stock is about to break out, and when we crush into the 800s, if that's near term, you're going to see a lot of pain on the short side. So I would expect to see many bashing articles out there. It's not safe, etc., etc., etc. Let's see if this full self-driving news blows the sector up. We actually have a swing play that I love a lot in this sector, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Some stock plays. MOSY Nissan. MOSY, MOSY, have not been swinging this for a while. I jumped back in. This chip issue is not going away, and this is now a merger play. You can see I've got this 10 level highlighted here. I kind of hate doing these kinds of targets because traders will go, oh, well, I'm up 75%, but you've got $10 highlighted here, so I'm not going to take any profits off the table. This is my pie in the sky. Everything goes right. This is my target. That's what these way up there targets are in my eyes. Chip play, merger play. My best description for MOSY is I'm really surprised it's down here on the merger news, given what we've seen other merger stocks do. Recent one being BBIG 2s to 12, SPRT 4 to 50. So that is my mindset on this one. You can see here the moving averages, breakout level, mid fives. Again, the real chasing action will come in here, 6+. Volume was really, really low, and that is another comment I want to make on this market. One of the biggest movers in this market recently has been CEI on news that they paid $1 million up front, I believe, and $5 million or so in total to buy some carbon capture technology. And that stock has done this over the last month, 33 cents to 230. It's not the news. I mean, if it was the news, the other peer plays would be exploding just like this. This is a volume news. This is a market where the only thing that matters in my eyes is whether the algos bless a stock or not. They usually bless the ones with so-so DD behind them, and there's underlying reasons on why they do that. But this is a volume market. So when volume comes into these stocks, like we also saw on BBIG, when they get blessed by the algo, this is what they do. That can be a very tough thing when you're sitting on plays that you go, this research is great. This chart is fantastic. Why is this stock moving? If you look at it, it'll be because the volume hasn't come. Periods like this happen in the market. It's just a matter of recognizing them and knowing that you're in it and not letting it annoy you. Speaking of carbon capture, UAMY, they're actually the material that's used for carbon capture. And look at this stock, barely moving. Lots of pokers in the fire for this stock. I own it long term, as I said. It's a matter of when someone decides to flip the algo on this one, and we know what the rest of the story will be. SNMP, similar story. You know the story behind this one. Breakout level, probably 120s. That'll be the freedom area on this one. 120s and big volume, and a move back to the July-August highs are what would be in the cards. High short interest stocks. Shorts won on these this week, but again, look at this chart. I mean, it's bottomed out. Both these moving averages right now, 50 and 20-day, are at 830s. 200-day is at 10. I'm probably going to be looking, depending on how the market looks tomorrow, to add to my swing position on this one and maybe pick up some calls. Similar story on SDC. Had that huge move a week ago up to the 7s, all the way back down here. Looks like a nice little bottom for me. This is an ad zone for me. Again, depending on the market tomorrow, I'm probably maybe looking at some call options too. We'll see. It all depends on what the market looks tomorrow to me. SBET. Now, I left this chart here. This was a trade on Wednesday, Thursday into the Ryder Cup. And you can see, this is just basic stuff. I'm just pointing it out, though. Whenever I look at, and this is a 1-hour chart, some of the easiest ways to determine targets on stock are just looking at the main moving averages. My 3 favorite ones, I've got a video on why that is. 50-day, 200-day, 20-day EMA. 200-day was up there in the 530s, and that's exactly where this stock went. Now, let's take a look here. This is the daily chart. This is getting really, really close. We should be putting in a nice little bottom here. The break is, the 530s, but I really think that it'll be the $6 to $7 zone where you really see the action come in here. And again, this is another one. The algos have not shown up. The news out there in the sports betting market just gets better and better and better. And these guys have NBC Sports. They've got NASCAR. They got the PGA, Ryder Cup, etc., etc., etc. This is the frustrating part of waiting for volume to be flipped on in the stock. SBET is the classic example of that. INDP, nice little bounce on this one this week. Big move up to 28s, came right back down and is doing a nice bounce. Break over 10 is the next spot. And if we look at the 1 hour chart, you can see here it keeps getting stopped in this area where the moving averages are. So when it clears that level, that should be a attract the algos type move. Now, this company has only issued one lame press release on a patent. They've got FDA potential news coming and possible news on their cannabis drugs. And cannabis could be in the headlines this week, so this is definitely a stock to keep an eye on. FRSX. This is the robot tech driving stock. That's all I got to say. 200-day moving average is up there at 499. Look what AEHR has done. That stock was 16 plus this past week. They wouldn't touch that stock in the 2 to 3 area, and 3-4 months later they're chasing it up there. That is the potential when the press releases start flowing on these kinds of stocks. Last stock I'm going to really mention, WPBG, going bankrupt and being dissolved this upcoming Thursday, but a high short interest on this stock, and they're actually going to be paying out money to longs. That doesn't mean I want to hold this stock into the dissolution, but shorts need to cover, and this is a very nice chart. 110 break. These D-list BK runs, these stocks usually have at least one. That's been my experience. Have one big one, and it's usually the week of. So tomorrow could be a very nice day on this one. Again, thanks for listening, guys. This is a market, as I continue to say, that I'm using to keep the cobwebs off my trading. This is a market to lower expectations in, keep in practice. And my goal usually is not to lose. I want to be high cash, look around with a day trade focus. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you all in the chat room tomorrow. Bye.